The crimson warning lights bathed the Zerathi monitoring station in an eerie glow as Lieutenant Commander Hyunwoo's 6 eyes widened in disbelief. His scaled fingers trembled over the holographic display, showing readings that should have been impossible. The massive vessel floating at the edge of their home system defied every law of physics he'd studied in his 40 years of service. "By the ancient stars," he whispered, his forked tongue flicking out nervously. The ship was enormous, easily 3 times the size of their flagship, but what made his blood run cold wasn't its size. It was how it had appeared. No ripples in space-time, no energy build-up, no quantum signatures. One moment empty space stretched endlessly. The next moment this behemoth simply existed. The station's artificial intelligence, a sophisticated Zerathi creation, chimed with mechanical confusion. Unable to classify vessel design, hull composition unknown. Energy patterns do not match any recorded civilization in the galactic database. Hyunwoo's claws clicked rapidly against his control panel as he desperately tried to gather more data. The ship's surface seemed to shimmer with an almost liquid quality, reflecting the distant stars in patterns that hurt to look at directly. Whatever metal or composite material formed its hull, it was unlike anything the Zerathi Empire had encountered in their 1,000 years of galactic dominance. The command center doors burst open with a pneumatic hiss, and Admiral Jin Ho strode in, his ceremonial battle armor clanking with each heavy step. His reptilian features, marked with the scars of countless space battles, were twisted in concern. The Admiral's presence alone was enough to silence the nervous chatter of the junior officers scattered throughout the station. "Report, Commander." Jinho's voice boomed through the chamber, carrying the authority that had made him legendary throughout the Empire. Hyunwoo's throat pouch inflated as he struggled to find words. "Sir, approximately 45 seconds ago, this vessel materialized at coordinates 77 Alpha, directly at the edge of our system's gravitational influence. No warning, no approach vector we could track." The Admiral's golden eyes narrowed as he studied the holographic projection of the mysterious ship. Its design was sleek yet alien, with curves that seemed to flow like water frozen in time. Strange markings covered its hull, glowing faintly with an inner light that pulsed in rhythms unknown to Zerathi science. "Energy readings, Commander?" Hyunwoo's voice cracked slightly. "Sir, our most sensitive instruments are barely scratching the surface. The power emanating from that vessel it's like trying to measure the output of a star with a candle. Our scanners are being reflected, absorbed, or somehow redirected. It's as if the ship doesn't want to be fully seen." Around them, the station's crew of 30 Zerathi officers watched in stunned silence. These were veterans who had seen the Empire crush rebellions, absorb entire civilizations, and explore the darkest corners of known space. Yet none had ever witnessed anything like this. The ship hung motionless in the void, its presence somehow commanding attention despite its complete stillness. It wasn't broadcasting any signals, wasn't making any threatening moves, yet every instinct screamed danger to the experienced military personnel watching it. "Weapons status?" Jin Ho asked, though they all knew their plasma cannons and quantum. "Torpedoes would be useless against something that advanced. All defensive systems are online, sir," but Hyunwoo hesitated, then continued with brutal honesty. "Admiral, if that ship wanted to destroy us, I don't think we could even damage it in return." Suddenly, the mysterious vessel began to move, not forward, not backward, but in a way that seemed to bend space around it. The stars behind it distorted and twisted, creating a nauseating visual effect that made several officers look away. Jin Ho opened his mouth to order an intercept course for their fastest patrol ships, but before the words could leave his throat, the impossible happened again. The vessel simply ceased to exist. No flash of light, no energy discharge, no spatial distortion indicating a jump to hyperspace. Between one heartbeat and the next, the ship was gone, as if it had never been there at all. The silence that followed was deafening. Even the station's humming machinery seemed quieter, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. "Full system scan now," Jin Ho ordered, his voice steady despite the chaos in his mind. "I want every sensor array, every deep space probe, every automated beacon to sweep this entire system. Check for residual energy signatures, gravitational anomalies, anything that might tell us what we just witnessed." As the crew scrambled to obey, Jin-Ho stared at the empty space where the ship had been. In his long military career, he had learned to trust his instincts, and right now they were screaming that the Zarathi Empire had just encountered something that would change everything. "Contact Imperial Command immediately," he added grimly. "Priority Alpha transmission. We may have just witnessed the arrival of a species that makes our greatest achievements look like primitive cave paintings." The massive crystalline dome of the Imperial Palace gleamed under the light of 3 suns as Emperor Taemin's scaled hand slammed against the obsidian council table. The emergency meeting had been called within hours of Admiral Jin-Ho's report, and the tension in the air was thick enough to cut with a plasma blade. Around the circular table sat the most powerful beings in the Zarathi Empire. Each advisor represented centuries of experience and wisdom, yet today they all looked like frightened children facing the unknown. The holographic projector in the center flickered to life, displaying the ghostly image of the mysterious vessel that had appeared and vanished at their system's edge. Emperor Taemin's golden eyes swept across his council. His ceremonial robes, embedded with crystals from 100 conquered worlds, caught the light as he leaned forward. At nearly 8 feet tall, with scales that shifted from deep green to black depending on his mood, he was an imposing figure who had ruled the empire for over 2 centuries. Today, however, uncertainty clouded his usually confident features. "Show me everything," he commanded, his voice echoing through the vast chamber. The hologram rotated slowly, revealing details that made even the most experienced military minds uncomfortable. The ship's design was unlike anything in their extensive databases. Where Zarathi vessels were angular and aggressive, built for conquest and intimidation, this craft flowed like liquid metal frozen in perfect harmony. Strange symbols pulsed along its hull with a rhythm that seemed almost alive. Dr. So-Young, the Empire's chief xenobiologist, stepped closer to the display. Her ancient form moved with the careful precision of someone who had studied alien life for over 300 years. Her tentacles, each one equipped with sensitive neural endings that could detect the slightest biological anomaly, writhed with visible anxiety as she examined the data. "Your Majesty," she began, her voice carrying the weight of terrible knowledge, "the energy readings from this vessel are beyond our current understanding. Our best estimates suggest it could generate enough power to obliterate our entire home fleet without even activating what we might consider main weapons." A collective intake of breath swept through the council chamber. The Zarathi home fleet consisted of over 5,000 warships, including the massive dreadnoughts that had crushed entire civilizations. The thought that a single vessel could destroy them all was almost incomprehensible. General Min-Ho, commander of the Imperial Armed Forces, stepped forward. His battle-scarred armor told the story of countless victories across the galaxy. The mechanical augmentations grafted to his left arm clicked and whirred as he gestured toward the hologram. Yet this ship did nothing aggressive. It appeared, observed our defenses for less than 2 minutes, then vanished. This suggests either supreme confidence or a reconnaissance mission. "Or both," muttered Intelligence Director Kyung-Soo from his position near the shadows. The spider-like alien had served the Empire for decades, his network of spies and informants stretching across known space. His 8 legs tapped nervously against the floor as he processed the implications. Emperor. Taemin studied the data streaming across multiple displays. Energy signatures, material composition analyses, movement patterns, everything pointed to technology that made their most advanced systems look primitive. "Dr. So-Young, in your professional opinion, what are we dealing with? The elderly?" Scientist's tentacles coiled tighter around her walking staff, a device that doubled as a sophisticated scanner. "Your Majesty, I've studied over 400 alien species during my career. I've seen the remains of the ancient progenitor race, examined artifacts from civilizations that died out millions of years ago. This ship represents a level of advancement that surpasses anything I've encountered." Around the table, military commanders exchanged worried glances. Admiral Dongwu, veteran of the Corvan Wars, leaned forward. "Could this be a weapon from one of our enemies? The Alterian Consortium has been developing new technologies, and the Veth Collective has always been secretive about their capabilities." Intelligence Director Kyung-soo's compound eyes focused on the Admiral. Negative. My agents have been monitoring all major civilizations. This technology doesn't match anything in our databases. Whatever species built this ship, they've been hidden from us completely. General Minho's mechanical arm whirred as he accessed his tactical displays. I've already begun mobilizing our reserve fleets. Battle groups from the outer sectors are converging on our core worlds. If this is the beginning of an invasion, we'll be ready. But Emperor Taemin wasn't convinced that traditional military responses would be effective. He had built his empire through understanding his enemies, knowing their weaknesses, exploiting their fears. This unknown species had revealed nothing except their overwhelming superiority. Begin Operation Deep Sight immediately, the Emperor commanded. I want every intelligence asset, every spy network, every information broker in known space, searching for any mention of vessels matching this description. Check ancient databases, archaeological records, even mythology from primitive worlds. Dr. So-young raised one tentacle hesitantly. Your Majesty, what if this species has been watching us all along? The precision of their appearance suggests detailed knowledge of our defensive arrangements. The thought sent chills through the assembled council. Had their empire, built on conquest and surveillance, been under observation by beings who viewed them as primitives? The irony was both terrifying and humbling. Emperor Taemin stood, his towering presence commanding absolute attention. Then, we adapt or we perish. Begin the investigation immediately. This looks like you want me to expand on a specific part of your sci-fi story in your own creative work. Since this is a creative writing task rather than a research question, I'll help you expand Part 3 directly. The emergency communication arrays across the galaxy burned white-hot with urgent transmissions as reports poured in from every corner of known space. Captain Jae-sung of the Corvan Republic's Third Fleet stood rigid in his command center, his forearms trembling as he recorded his encounter report for the Galactic database. Personal log, stardate 7.832. His gravelly voice echoed through the bridge. Unknown vessel appeared 3 kilometers off our starboard bow during routine patrol of the Zephyr Nebula. Ship design, unlike anything in our military archives, appeared for exactly 97 seconds, then vanished without trace. His tactical officer, a young Corvan with bright red scales, looked up from her console with wide eyes. Sir, we're receiving similar reports from 17 other Corvan fleets across our territory. All describe identical vessels, all lasting less than 2 minutes. Meanwhile, in the luxurious diplomatic chambers of the Alterian trade station, Ambassador Yun-ji paced nervously before a wall of holoscreens displaying reports from across her civilization's vast commercial network. The Alterians, known throughout the galaxy for their peaceful trading methods and advanced economic systems, had never faced a threat they couldn't negotiate with or buy off. This is unprecedented, she murmured to her aide, a floating, crystalline being that pulsed with soft blue light. Merchant vessels from the outer rim to our core trading hubs, all reporting the same phenomenon. These ships appear near our most valuable trade routes, observe our cargo movements, then disappear. The crystalline aide's voice chimed like distant bells. Ambassador, the pattern suggests they're mapping our entire commercial infrastructure. Every major shipping lane, every hub station, every resource depot. As the reports multiplied, even the mysterious Veth Collective, who had isolated themselves in the galaxy's dark matter regions for over a millennium, broke their ancient silence. President Sun Ho's holographic image flickered to life in emergency council chambers across dozens of worlds. His species was unlike any other in known space, beings of pure energy contained within mechanical shells, their true forms hidden behind shifting light patterns. The emergency galactic summit convened on the neutral station Harmony Point, a massive structure built at the exact gravitational center of the major civilizations. For the first time in galactic history, representatives from species that had been at war for centuries sat at the same table, united by a common terror. Admiral Jinho arrived with the full Zarathi delegation, his battle fleet maintaining defensive positions around the station. As he entered the great assembly hall, he noticed something remarkable. The usual posturing and territorial displays were absent. Instead, Beings who normally wouldn't share breathing space were huddled together, sharing data streams and tactical analyses. The Corvan military commanders, usually proud and aggressive, spoke in hushed tones with Altarian trade negotiators. Even the enigmatic Shadowkin, who communicated only through telepathic whispers, had sent a physical representative for the first time in 300 years. President Sun Ho's energy form pulsed brighter as he began his address. Fellow beings of the galaxy, what we face transcends our individual concerns. These unknown vessels have appeared simultaneously near every major civilization, every significant world, every strategic location across known space. The holographic display behind him showed a three-dimensional map of the galaxy, with thousands of red dots marking encounter locations. The pattern was terrifying in its precision. Whoever was conducting this surveillance knew exactly where to look, exactly what was important to each species. The coordination required for this operation, Sun Ho continued, his voice carrying harmonics that resonated with every species present, suggests a level of organization and technology that makes our greatest achievements seem primitive. Admiral Jin Ho stood, his ceremonial armor catching the chamber's artificial light. We've analyzed the data from all encounters. The vessels vary in size and configuration, but the energy signatures are identical. We're dealing with a single species operating dozens, possibly hundreds of ships simultaneously across the entire galaxy. A collective shudder ran through the assembly. The implications were staggering. While the great civilizations had spent centuries fighting each other over territory and resources, an unknown species had been watching them all, studying their strengths and weaknesses with scientific precision. Dr. Hei Young, the Zerethi's leading xenoarchaeologist, stepped forward with her analysis. Based on the encounter patterns, these beings have detailed knowledge of our civilizations that goes back centuries. They know our trade routes, our military positions, our population centers. This isn't recent reconnaissance. It's the culmination of long-term observation. The Altarian ambassador Yunji's voice carried a tremor of fear. They're treating us like specimens in a laboratory, studying our behavior patterns and technological development. For the first time in galactic history, ancient enemies began sharing their most closely guarded secrets. The Corvan Republic offered their military intelligence networks. The Altarian Consortium opened their commercial databases. Even the secretive Veth Collective shared their sensor data from the dark matter regions. As the data merged, the terrifying scope became clear. They were all insects under a microscope, observed by beings so advanced that their entire galaxy was merely an interesting research project. Captain Young-Su's weathered hands gripped the command chair as his ship, the UES Endeavour, dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Kepler Station. The massive human exploration vessel hummed with quiet efficiency, its sleek hull reflecting the distant stars. After 18 months mapping the outer regions of this galactic sector, the crew was looking forward to restocking supplies at the neutral trading post, but something was wrong. Very wrong, Captain, Lieutenant Haywon called out from her communication station, her voice tight with confusion. I'm reading multiple contacts converging on our position, military signatures, from at least 6 different species. Young-Su frowned as he watched the tactical display light up like a festival. Dozens of alien warships were emerging from hyperspace around them, their weapon systems powered, but not yet locked on. The formations were a mix of everything: sleek Altarian cruisers, massive Zerathi dreadnoughts, angular Corvan destroyers, and ships from species he didn't immediately recognize. "This is unusual," muttered Chief Navigator Jinwoo from his position. "Kepler Station is supposed to be neutral territory. Why would all these fleets be here?" Before Young-Su could respond, his communications console erupted with incoming transmissions. Multiple languages, all demanding immediate identification and stating hostile intentions, would not be tolerated. The universal translator worked overtime to process the flood of panicked communications. "Sir," Haywon said, her eyes wide as she monitored the alien chatter, "they're demanding we identify ourselves and state our intentions. But, Captain, they seem terrified. Their heart rates are elevated, stress hormones spiking. It's like..." They think we're about to attack them. Young Su studied the alien formations surrounding his single exploration vessel. The UES Endeavour was impressive by human standards, 2 kilometers long, equipped with advanced sensors and defensive systems, but it was built for exploration, not warfare. The idea that dozens of alien warships would consider it a threat was absurd. "Open a channel on all frequencies," he ordered. "This is Captain Young Su of the United Earthship Endeavour. We are a peaceful exploration vessel, requesting permission to dock at Kepler Station for supplies and cultural exchange." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Every alien fleet demanded more information, coordinates of other human ships, details about Earth's military capabilities. The questions came so fast that the translator couldn't keep up. Within hours, Young Su found himself aboard a Zarathi command ship, escorted by heavily armed guards to what appeared to be an emergency council session. The massive chamber was filled with representatives from species across the galaxy, all focused on him with an intensity that made his skin crawl. Emperor Taimin, easily identified by his ornate robes and commanding presence, leaned forward. "Human Captain, you will answer our questions truthfully. How many vessels does your species possess? What are your military capabilities? Why have you been conducting surveillance operations across our territories?" Young Su blinked in surprise. "Surveillance operations? Your Majesty, I think there's been a serious misunderstanding. We're explorers. The Endeavour is part of Earth's Deep Space Survey program. We've been mapping this region and studying your civilizations from a respectful distance to ensure any first contact would be peaceful and non-threatening." The assembled alien leaders exchanged glances that mixed fear with disbelief. Admiral Jin Ho stepped forward, his scaled features grim. "Captain, your survey ships have been appearing near our most sensitive military installations and disappearing before we could respond. This has been happening for months across the entire galaxy." "Our survey ships?" Young Su's mind raced. "You mean the advanced reconnaissance drones? Those are automated vessels designed to gather basic information about potential contact species. They're programmed to avoid detection and maintain safe distances to prevent cultural contamination." Dr. So Young's tentacles writhed with agitation. "Captain, those drones of yours possess technology that exceeds our most advanced warships. Our scientists estimate they could destroy entire fleets without effort." Young Su felt a chill run down his spine as he began to understand the scope of the misunderstanding. "Dr. So Young, with respect, our survey drones are equipped with standard defensive systems and stealth technology. They're designed to observe and collect data, nothing more. They avoid contact because that's their programming. We wanted to understand your cultures before making formal introductions." President Sun Ho's energy form pulsed brighter. "Standard defensive systems? Captain, we recorded energy readings from your vessels that suggest they could obliterate star systems." The human captain sat back in his chair, the full weight of the situation settling on him. Humanity's careful, cautious approach to first contact, sending advanced scouts to study alien civilizations from afar to ensure peaceful interaction, had been interpreted as a massive surveillance operation by a hostile superpower. "Ladies and gentlemen," Young Su said slowly, "I believe we need to have a much longer conversation about human exploration protocols and our actual intentions in this region of space." The assembled alien leaders realized they might have just discovered that their greatest fear was actually their most careful potential ally. "Since this is a creative writing task, to expand on your original story content, I'll help you directly." Without needing research, Captain Young Su took a deep breath as he looked around the vast council chamber filled with representatives from dozens of alien species. The weight of their stares pressed down on him as he realized he was about to reshape the understanding of an entire galaxy. These beings had spent months terrified of humanity's presence, and now he had to carefully explain the truth without causing panic. "Let me start from the beginning," Young Su said, his voice calm and measured. 3 years ago, Earth's Deep Space Command detected signs of advanced civilizations in this galactic sector. Instead of charging in with warships like some species might do, we chose a different approach. He activated his personal holographic display, showing a 3-dimensional map of the local galaxy with gentle blue lines tracing humanity's exploration routes. We sent advanced reconnaissance vessels to study your civilizations from a safe distance. These ships were programmed with strict non-interference protocols. They were meant to learn about your cultures, your technology levels, your social structures, so that when we finally made contact, we could do so in a way that wouldn't disrupt your natural development. Emperor Tamin's golden eyes narrowed with a mixture of confusion and growing dread. Captain, you speak of non-interference, yet your vessels possess capabilities that dwarf our most advanced technology. Our sensors detected energy signatures that could power entire worlds. Young Su nodded matter-of-factly, as if discussing the weather. The Endeavour-class exploration vessels are designed for deep space missions lasting years at a time. They need powerful engines for faster-than-light travel across galactic distances, advanced shielding to protect against cosmic radiation and hostile environments, and sophisticated sensor arrays to gather detailed information from light years. Dawei. Admiral Jin Ho stepped forward, his mechanical arm whirring with agitation. Captain, our finest dreadnoughts couldn't scratch the hull of your exploration vessels. What does that make your actual military? The human captain's expression grew thoughtful. Admiral, Earth's actual defense fleet currently numbers just over 15,000 ships spread across multiple galactic sectors, but you have to understand, we don't think in terms of conquest or domination. Our military exists to protect human colonies and shipping lanes, not to wage wars of expansion. A collective gasp echoed through the chamber. 15,000 ships, each potentially more advanced than anything the gathered civilizations could field. The numbers were staggering, but what truly shook the alien representatives was the casual way Young Su delivered this information, as if it were common knowledge. Dr. So Young's tentacles writhed with nervous energy as she processed the implications. Captain, if your species possesses such overwhelming technological superiority, why haven't you conquered us? Why the careful observation? Most species would have simply taken what they wanted. Young Su's expression grew somber. Doctor, humanity learned some hard lessons during our early expansion into space. We encountered several younger civilizations, and despite our best intentions, our presence disrupted their natural development. Some advanced too quickly and collapsed under the weight of technologies they weren't ready for. Others became dependent on us and lost their cultural identity. He paused, letting the weight of those failures sink in. We realized that true strength isn't about imposing your will on others. It's about protecting them while they find their own path forward. So we developed the stewardship protocols. President Sun Ho's energy form pulsed with curiosity. Stewardship protocols? We've been quietly watching over this entire galactic region for the past decade, Young Su explained. When long-range sensors detected a massive asteroid on collision course with the Corvan homeworld 18 months ago, we discreetly altered its trajectory. When the shadowing fleet from the Andromeda sector began moving toward Alterian space, we convinced them to redirect their expansion elsewhere. The Corvan delegation erupted in shocked whispers. Captain Jae Sung, who had reported the mysterious asteroid deflection, stared at Young Su with wide eyes. That was you? Our scientists couldn't explain how a planet-killer asteroid suddenly changed course. We prefer to work invisibly, Young Su replied. Civilizations need to grow and develop naturally, but that doesn't mean they should face extinction-level threats that are beyond their ability to handle. Emperor Tai Min, who had ruled the most powerful empire in known space for over 2 centuries, felt his worldview crumbling. You've been protecting us, all of us. The galaxy is a dangerous place, Young Su said simply. Rogue black holes, gamma-ray bursts, hostile species from other galactic arms, dimensional incursions from parallel realities. Younger civilizations shouldn't have to face these threats alone. As the full scope of humanity's hidden protection became clear, the assembled representatives began to understand that their entire galactic civilization had been developing under humanity's watchful eye. Wars they had fought, territories they had conquered, technologies they had developed, all while unknowingly sheltered by beings who could have swept them aside with minimal effort. The age of independent galactic empires was ending, replaced by the realization that they had always been part of something larger. Humanity's carefully tended garden of civilizations growing toward their own unique destinies under the protection of their silent guardians. The end.